So our last topic was Kohlrausch's law, and this presentation is an extension of that law. We'll be doing applications of Kohlrausch's law in this one, right? Now before going through these applications in detail, let's quickly take a look at what Kohlrausch's law is. I won't go through the whole thing, we have done it already. Simply, if your compound, if your substance is AXBY, its lambda naught m molar conductivity at infinite dilution is the summation of its ionic conductivities. Like for NaCl, lambda naught m is equal to lambda naught Na plus lambda naught Cl negative. Molar conductivity at infinite dilution of NaCl is the summation of limiting ionic conductivities of its ions. That is what Kohlrausch's law is. Now all of this is done for strong electrolytes. This molar conductivity can be experimentally measured only for strong electrolytes like these. That is why we have this extension in which we will be studying applications of Kohlrausch's law. In this presentation, we'll be doing as many as 5 applications. The first one is calculation of molar conductivity at infinite dilution for weak electrolytes. As I said, strong electrolytes की हम measure कर सकते हैं experimentally, but as far as the weak electrolytes are concerned, we'll have to calculate it using Kohlrausch's law. Second, we'll be able to calculate degree of dissociation. Then we'll have the dissociation constant. Then we'll calculate solubility of sparingly soluble salts. And finally, the final application will be calculation of the ionic product of water. Let's take a look at them one by one. The first one, calculation of molar conductivity at infinite dilution for weak electrolytes. I'll say it again that it can be measured, molar conductivity at infinite dilution can be measured experimentally only for strong electrolytes, not for weak electrolytes, for obvious reasons, because they dissociate partially, right? Now when you increase their dilution, when you add more and more solvent so that they reach infinite dilution, obviously their ionization will increase, their conductivity will increase. So how do we calculate it using the law? Let's take the example of this acetic acid, CH3COOH is the weak electrolyte we are taking into consideration, and we have to calculate its lambda naught CH3COOH, which according to Kohlrausch's law should be lambda naught limiting ionic conductivity of acetate ion plus limiting ionic molar conductivity of molar ionic conductivity of H positive. But how do we get the values of these two? We can't measure them experimentally, we'll have to calculate them. This is the procedure we follow. This equation, the equation which we need, it can be arrived at by knowing the molar conductivities at infinite dilution for these strong electrolytes. In this case, the strong electrolytes taken are KCl, CH3COOK and HCl. Now if you pay attention to the choice of strong electrolytes, there is something common with the weak electrolyte in question. First one, there is nothing common. Second one, the acetate ion is common with the weak one. Third one, H positive ion is common. And the first one has common ion of this strong electrolyte and this strong electrolyte. This is the first thing that has to be done carefully. That when you will be choosing 3 strong electrolytes so that you get this equation, this should be the relationship with the weak electrolyte. Now according to Kohlrausch's law, if we write down the equations of all these 3 electrolytes, this is what we get. Molar conductivity of each one of them is a summation of limiting ionic molar conductivities of their ions, right? This is the equation for KCl, this is the equation for CH3COOK, this is the equation for HCl. Now how do we use these 3 values? We use a very simple mathematical sense. As I said, lambda naught CH3COH हमें कहाँ से मिलेगा? When we'll have these 2 values. And ये 2 values हमें कहाँ से मिलेंगे? When of all these values हम ऐसे summation and subtraction करेंगे so that we get the values of these 2. First we take up CH3COOK, lambda naught of acetate ion plus lambda naught of K positive plus lambda naught of H positive and lambda naught of Cl negative. This is the HCl, your second strong electrolyte. And then we have lambda naught of K positive and lambda naught Cl negative. This is our third strong electrolyte. Now after, two things are crucial in this. One, choice of the electrolytes, and second, the simple mathematical sense कि हमें प्लस कहाँ यूज करना है, माइनस कहाँ यूज करना है. हम उन दो स्ट्रॉन्ग इलेक्ट्रोलाइट्स का समेशन लेते हैं जिनमें हमारे कॉमन आयंस है. We have CH3CO negative here, which we need here. We have H positive in this, we need here. And the third electrolyte is subtracted. We don't need any ion from this, it is subtracted, just that we can cancel K positive with this and Cl negative with this, and what we are left with is limiting ionic conductivity of CH3CO negative and lambda naught H positive only, which we need as values. So finally मैंने equation लिखी है lambda naught molar conductivity, limiting molar conductivity at infinite dilution of this weak electrolyte is equal to lambda naught of this strong electrolyte plus lambda naught of this strong electrolyte minus lambda naught of KCl. I'll repeat myself one more time. When you have to calculate the molar conductivity of a weak electrolyte, we choose our three strong electrolytes जिनको हम use करेंगे calculation के लिए carefully, and next we use a simple mathematical sense about what is to be added and what is to be subtracted. Next is calculation of the degree of dissociation, right? Now we are again talking about weak electrolytes. So obviously when there is dilution, when more and more solvent is added, there is increase in the dissociation of the electrolyte, and thus there is increase in molar conductivity. So how do we calculate that degree of dissociation alpha? We do it like this. If lambda mc is the molar conductivity at any concentration C and lambda naught m is the molar conductivity at infinite dilution means zero concentration, then at concentration C we have an equation for degree of dissociation. Alpha will be equal to lambda mc divided by lambda naught m, lambda cm divided by lambda naught m, molar conductivity at concentration C divided by molar conductivity at infinite dilution. Now how is this an application of Kohl-Roche's law? Because it's a weak electrolyte, we'll have to go through this procedure. The first application, then only we'll have the value of lambda naught m. By using Kohl-Roche's law, we'll find out the value of lambda naught m. Then only we'll have the value of alpha, which is the degree of dissociation of a weak electrolyte. This is the second application. Now the third, they are basically interdependent. When you have the first one, then only you can have the second one, then only you can have the third one. But dissociation constant, right? Now since you have alpha and we know concentration C, there's a very simple equation. Kc, dissociation constant at concentration C, is C alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. Again, how is this an application of Kohl-Roche's law? Because we need the value of alpha, degree of dissociation, and that we'll get from second application, and that we'll get from the first application. So these three applications of Kohl-Roche's law are interdependent. Moving to the fourth one. What is the fourth one? Calculation of solubility of a sparingly soluble salt. Now what a sparingly soluble salt is, you have done the solubility product last year also. You have studied these in class 11th, which do not dissolve completely in their solvents, like AgCl, barium sulfate है. आप dissolve करोगे solvent में, they do not dissolve, right? Because they do not dissolve completely, they dissolve to a very small extent. The solutions are always infinitely dilute. Solvent का amount हमेशा अच्छा खासा रहता है, so that we can call these solutions dilute solutions. Secondly, they are saturated. By definition, what is a saturated solution? जिसमें आपने solute dissolve किया and when you're adding further solute, it is not dissolving further. तो ये already saturated होती हैं. इनका solute सारा solvent में dissolve होता ही नहीं. Because of this, that they are always saturated, their concentration is equal to their solubility. If you know their concentration, what their concentration is, that is their solubility, right? So if we can calculate concentration, we'll be very easily able to calculate their solubility. To do so, we use a very simple equation of molar conductivity. Lambda naught m, molar conductivity at infinite dilution, is kappa. Kappa is specific conductivity, which we have done previously, multiplied by 1000 by molarity. This is our equation. If you go back and check your previous lectures, we have done this in case of molar conductivity, that molar conductivity is equal to kappa into 1000 by molarity. Now, as I said, since these solutions are saturated, molarity is an expression of concentration. In place of molarity, we can write solubility, because concentration is their solubility. So we can say lambda naught m is equal to kappa into 1000 by solubility, or solubility is kappa specific conductivity into 1000 divided by lambda naught m. Again, by now you understand how is this an application of Kohl-Roche's law. We need the value of lambda naught m, which we can find by going through the first application, calculating lambda naught m of these salts. Then only we can calculate the solubility of a sparingly soluble salt like AgCl or barium sulfate. Next, the last one is the calculation of ionic product of water. This, the one which I have highlighted, this is a very important value in chemistry. This is the ionic product of water. How we can use Kohl-Roche's law to calculate this water, this value of the water, ionic product of water? Let's see. Now, ionic conductance of H positive and OH negative at infinite dilution is given here. We have the specific known value. Lambda naught H positive 349.8, lambda naught OH negative 198.5 Siemens centimeter square per mole. Now, by Kohl-Roche's law, what will be the molar conductivity at infinite dilution of water? It will be the summation of these ionic conductivities, limiting ionic conductivities. When we do that mathematics, lambda naught of H2O comes out to be 548.7 Siemens centimeter square per mole, right? Next thing, specific conductivity, kappa, of pure water at 298 Kelvin has also been calculated, and the value is this, 5.54 into 10 to the power minus 8. Now we have these two values. We have lambda naught of water, we have kappa of water. We'll use this equation of molar conductivity. Lambda naught m is equal to kappa into 1000 divided by molarity, or we can say molarity is equal to kappa into 1000 by lambda naught m. Now here you need to pay a little attention. What is molarity? It's a concentration term. It's the expression of concentration. It can either be concentration of H positive ions or concentration of OH negative ions. So when we are calculating molarity by this equation, we are calculating concentration of either H positive or OH negative ions. Substituting all the values of kappa and lambda naught m, we get this, molarity 1.01 into 10 to the power minus 7 gram ions per liter. Now, as I said, this is the value of either concentration of H positive ions or OH negative ions. We'll use this value. Kw, ionic product of water, is a product of the concentration of H positive ions and concentration of OH negative ions. Now, this value belongs to both. It is the value of H positive as well as OH negative. So we use the equation like this, 1.01 into 10 to the power minus 7 for H positive, also 1.01 into 10 to the power minus 7 for OH negative. The result is 1.02 into 10 to the power minus 14, which is the ionic product of water. So how did we reach here? We reached here when we knew the value of lambda naught m. Thus we used Kohl-Roche's law to calculate Kw, ionic product of water, which is 1.02 into 10 to the power minus 14. Now the significance of these applications is they are very important as far as the numericals are concerned. You go through the presentation, we'll do all the numericals based on all these 5 applications, either in Google Classroom or during our live interaction on Zoom app. Let's see how we can do that.